Everyone wants to talk about the NDIS. I would prefer to tell you about me and my life. I have just started a new volunteer job as a dog trainer. I like dogs. Here are my two pets, Angie and Linus. I am a member of Toastmasters at Newcastle Uni. I practice public speaking and leadership and get to do this with a great bunch of people. I am a member of Toastmasters at Newcastle. I now have paid work as a public speaker. I am a citizen. I vote and sometimes I protest when I do not agree with decisions being made. I really like sport. I like going to watch football games, especially when the Knights win. I like playing cricket with family and friends. I love swimming. It is very good exercise. I also enjoy catching waves in the surf. I have been going out at night to gigs. I think Fox Control are really cool. Look them up on YouTube. I really love spending time with friends and family. When my mum went away for the weekend, I had a party, as you do. I have been away overnight in Sydney without my family. I am trying out new technology for communication and finding new ways to drive a power wheelchair. From time to time I need a bit of support to do the things I want to do. Sometimes I get support from friends and family, sometimes it is paid support. So how do I make decisions about what I want to do? I like to plan my day, but I need help to make big plans for the future. I have a circle of support. These are my friends and family, people who care about me and know me very well. Together we think about what I might like to do and try out. I really like my circle meetings. I feel really special. Sometimes my mum makes decisions for me. She forgets I need to be in control of my life. Sometimes I need to try new things out, to find out if I like it. After I finished school, I went to theatre for a while to improve my reading and writing. I also tried out taking some classes at uni, but I preferred hanging out at the uni bar. 2 years ago I was asked if I could speak at a conference. Mum suggested I join Toastmasters to find out what public speaking is like. I really enjoy Toastmasters. They are a great bunch of people and I learn a lot. This is an example of how we make decisions, try new things out and see how it goes. I think we should have big dreams for ourselves and believe anything is possible. Thank you.
Okay, hi. So Jacob's left me to talk about the NDIS, which he thinks is a bit boring, and I find it rather fascinating. As Belinda was just explaining, it's a really massive paradigm shift where people with disabilities have individualised funding based on their goals and aspirations as well as their needs. It's quite amazing shift. And as well as being Jacob's mum having a bit of a vision for Jacob from when he was quite young, I've been involved with a lot of families in Newcastle and people with disabilities, people with disabilities and their families in Newcastle, in really getting us thinking about self-direction. I've been really privileged to be involved. So I want to talk a little bit about my involvement, a little bit of what I've learned, I suppose, around the NDIS in Newcastle. So just when you think about the NDIS, I kind of think there's a few new... The NDIS brings with it new language, and Belinda explained some of that in her presentation. And the goals and aspirations. It's really key to the NDIS. I just use the word vision. Now, the goals and aspirations, they're good words. I have no, problem with it. But for me, I think I've been thinking, and we've been thinking for a really long time, haven't we? Yes? You have. We've been thinking a really long time about what, Jacob's life could be like, and that's a vision that we've had for a really long time. Well before the NDIS. Well before it was. Really fortunate to become involved with family advocacy when Jacob was very young. So the NDIS is a great opportunity, but it starts well before that with a vision for a good life. The other aspect of the NDIS is choice and control. We hear lots and lots about choice and control. I prefer to use the phrase self-direction. And just really simply, self-direction just means being in charge of your life. So I suppose it's a little bit broader than choice and control. You might have a choice of this and that, which isn't a great choice when it's just two. I prefer, as I said, to talk about self-direction. And these three kind of interrelate. So you have a plan, and a plan is a plan is a plan. In NDIS speak, your plan might also be your NDIS funding for you to reach your goals and aspirations. And if you self-direct that, if you self-direct your NDIS plan, you're more likely to be on the track to reaching your goals and aspirations because you're making the choices about what direction your life goes in. And when I say your, I'm actually talking about a person with a disability. So it might be, when I say your, I might be talking actually about your son or daughter or your friend or your family member who has a disability or the person you support if you work in the sector. So when we're talking about a vision or your vision, I'm talking about the vision for the person with a disability. And it really, is about, the vision being solely placed on them. But I'll explain as I go on. This is sort of a key thing. I think I stole it from family advocacy at some point, this little image. And, I think it's really important when we're thinking about our life that we go beyond the needs, as Belinda was saying as well, and as Nathan as well really emphasised, it really is about your dreams. And let your dreams determine what you need. And that might be what support you need to reach your dreams, if you're thinking about the NDIS. And I think if you've had a vision for a good life, or if you've already got a vision for a good life for yourself or for your family member or the person you support, I suppose, but if you've got a vision for a good life, the NDIS is a real boon because it's ready there to, if you've had a vision for a good life and just waiting for the resources to make it happen, the NDIS is a boon. It's really, get you on your way. But I'm going to be a little I don't want people to think I'm being critical of the NDIS, but it does have its limitations. There's a saying that money can't buy you happiness. Money can't buy you love. Money can't buy you friends. Well, the NDIS isn't going to buy you a good life. This is, I think, when we think about Jacob's vision for the future, we're really on the top half there. We're really looking at, Jacob went to regular school. We'd really try and stay on that top half. And, at the moment, we're sort of moving along now towards, looking at Jacob leaving home and sharing a house with flatmates. We don't know what the future will hold, but that's kind of the trajectory we're on, and we have been on for a really long time because we've had this vision for Jacob. The NDIS is doing a lot of funding of that stuff on the bottom path, the path that we always avoid. And that's why I'm going to say it's really important to have a vision because it gives you that idea of which path you want to be on. The NDIS has enabled a lot of people who are stuck on that bottom path to actually start making trips up to that top path. But the NDIS is also funding plenty of stuff down the bottom. They're still funding respite. They're still funding group homes. They're still funding day programs and sheltered workshops. None of that has disappeared. In fact, in Newcastle, one of the things that I've seen, and it's really disappointing, is that with the NDIS, there's more funding there, and services have come up with new and ridiculous ways to segregate people with disability. I don't know. There's beautiful beaches here, but in Newcastle we've got lovely beaches as well, and pretty much on every Saturday morning there's nippers. People know what nippers are? Kids go along. we've got a new special Nippers that runs on a Sunday. Like, what the? You know, Nippers is full of volunteers. It's really, volunteers are helping out there everywhere. It's just a really good way for people to make connections, young children to make connections. And they've got, one on Sunday which is somewhat staffed by paid workers as well. There's a special, the one I heard last week was special Zumba. Every gym pretty much, I think, runs a Zumba. I haven't been to a gym for a long time, but I believe I've heard that gyms, run Zumba. But, people get on a bus and travel for 45 minutes to the special Zumba. And this is one of the really disappointing things, that if you don't have a vision for a good life, the NDIS is going to be very limited in what it can offer you. You really are going to stay on that second path. So, as I said, the NDIS can't buy you a good life, as in the same way that money can't buy you happiness. It can help. It can get you on the way there. And the NDIS might not be able to buy you a good life, but it might be able to get you on your way. And that's why I think it's really worth sort of thinking about, how we can use it in ways that do help you achieve that good life as an individual. I want to just have a little touch on choice as well. Because the NDIS talks a lot about choice and what people want. And when you've been limited in your opportunities, and you've had limited choice and limited opportunities to choose, how can you make a choice? And this is a real sticky wicket for us as parents when we, when we've been supporting our sons and daughters in decision making, and we're influencing the experiences that our sons and daughters can have. And this really was brought home to me when Jacob was asked to speak at a conference a couple of years ago, because it would have been really, really easy, and I have done it before, to say, oh, no, I do the talking, and it was just a coincidence that Jacob was being asked to speak about decision making, and I thought, hey, I'm going to ask him. And he said, I don't know. And we thought, oh, hold on, let's just take it from here. And I think that's where it's really, it's a sticky wicket for us as parents. And so I just sort of think that when we're thinking about choice, I've just got a little list of things that I think are worth considering. Is the person belonging? Are they sort of having that sense of safety and security and that sense of being part of? Is the choices that they're being offered offering that? Is it offering respect and dignity and respect for being treated the age you are? Particularly, if you're an adult, you're being offered adult choices. And are you being treated in an age-appropriate way? Are you sharing ordinary places with other people who don't have a disability? You're just out there in the community doing what everybody else is doing. Are you at Zumba at your local gym, for example, or at your regular Nippers or whatever? Are you contributing? Because everybody has gifts and skills and talents, but not everybody has the opportunity to share them. And if you're not given the opportunity to share them, you're not really experiencing choice. And are your options limited because you have a disability? And if your options are limited, then you're not really experiencing choice either. So, the information and stuff that I've stolen from family advocacy and resourcing families over the years. So when we think about a good life for Jacob, and this is, I think this is what life satisfaction surveys are based on. When you're thinking about a good life for yourself or for your family member who has a disability, we're really kind of thinking about what's a typical life, what most people aspire to. And it really is about relationships and having a partner and friends and just people, who know you, or even, acquaintances who kind of just know you and know to look out for you. A home and sense of security and that sense of belonging, as I mentioned before. One of the things when I think about a home is having a say in who walks through the front door and having your own key to the front door. Work and leisure and opportunities to discover things and explore. And once again, making a contribution and feeling valued. Enough money and good health. So they're the kind of things that, you know, if you sort of ask everybody, anybody, you know, what makes a good life for you? They're the kind of things that people typically come up with. And as I said, with a life satisfaction survey, they're the things that people are generally asked about. So how do we plan for Jacob? So when we think about what we, you know, planning with Jacob, we really have you at the heart of it, don't we? You really do like your circle meetings. Yeah. Yeah. So what's Jacob telling us? You know, really, you know, what are his interests? We sort of know Jacob well enough because I've known him for a bit of a while now. So we have a bit of an idea about what Jacob's interested in, but also it's about, you know, trying new things out, see how it goes. That's sort of how we try to sort of work it. We know what his preferences are and his passions. And, you know, there's also some things that Jacob, you know, needs a bit of support to develop as well. So we have this goal for Jacob to move out with mates. This is our sort of one of our really, really big goals. And I'm kind of like, I don't know if you can all see the cartoon, but there's sort of a removalist truck and there looks like mother in the passenger seat, and one of the flatmates is saying to the other, just how long is your mother going to stay with us? And I'm kind of that mother, you know. I want to like live next door or in the next, you know, room. But when we think about Jacob leaving home, we're thinking about, okay, Jacob really likes being away from me. So I go away for the weekend and I come back and on, you know, Monday it's just like, you again? Didn't I get rid of you? And we also know that Jacob's quite bored at home with the oldies. You know, he's 23 and, you know, you're letting us know that you're bored and want to be out doing stuff. And I think the other reason we're really thinking about Jacob leaving home is because we can do that in a planned and considered way. And quite often that doesn't happen with people with disabilities. When they leave home or move independent from their parents, it's by necessity and it's crisis driven. And we believe that if we do this in a planned and considered way, we will bring about much better outcomes for Jacob. I actually think will be actually really, really good, fantastically fun outcomes. But we know that's going to take a lot of thinking. It's not just a matter of packing a removalist truck and moving into a flat. With Jacob, we know that there's going to be, you know, it's a bit of a goal. It's a bit of a long-term thing that we're thinking about. And we've actually used the NDIS funding to assist us in doing that, because I don't have a big enough brain to work that out. And our support circle of sort of, you know, thinking about how we might do it, but there's sort of a bit, you know, gosh, you know, there's so much to think about. And in fact, there's actually a really good resource around that we've sort of been looking at around moving out. And I think that, I don't know if Resourcing Families has access to that, but if you Google Adam Moves Out, that's helping us with some of our thinking as well. And we, you know, so we've gone to the NDIS and we said, we need some additional sort of help to think about these things. And the NDIS has said, fine. So, if you're thinking about a vision for your son or your daughter or yourself or your person you support, we really think, you know, I recommend, this is my tip, before you go to the NDIS, have a positive vision. Don't go without one. The NDIS will not work for you otherwise. You won't get the best. So, think about a positive future, and that's a good life in the heart of the community. And invite positive people to share your thinking. We've got a circle of support. It might just be one of your best mates. I sort of recommend that you don't use people who, you don't want to be the devil's advocate, because that's just a bit hard work with them, really. So, you know, I recommend that you find positive people to join you who actually don't feel limited by what we know is possible at the moment. So right now in disability support, we think that there's certain things are possible because they already exist. And there's so much beyond that. There's so much beyond what we already know. So it really is a matter of thinking about what a good life is, imagining it, picturing that, and then sort of maybe working out what supports are needed. And they might not come from the disability sector at all, and quite likely they won't. They'll probably come from the regular place where most people spend their time, and and are in the community. We also talk to Nathan Basher, people who are living the dream, you know, it's people like that. Talk to Jacob, talk to me, you know, the people who've got it going on, talk to, you know, be inspired by others. I was really fortunate in Newcastle to be part of a user-led organisation, and that's lots, you know, it's based on peer support. It's a bunch of people with disabilities and families who came together in the lead up to the NDIS and really just wanted to think about, you know, people having good lives, being in charge of their support, and it's just really good to talk to other people and get that sort of peer support. Write your ideas down. Do not go to the NDIS without having a clear vision written down or in pictures or, you know, a recording or some way that really works for you. Really having it, you know, having something written down, something that you can share with others when you go along to the NDIS, you can share it with them. This is what we have in mind. And start now. Now, I know you've not got the NDIS for a while around this area, but you can start now. And if you actually start now, you might be able to identify things that, you know, you can actually start doing. You start on that road. As I said before, the NDIS has brought, you know, it's brought some changes, but not huge changes in Jacob's life, because we're already on that trajectory, that life of having a, you know, that life of being included in the community. So, you know, it's, you know, I suppose, you know, we were pretty lucky in that we had some individualised funding before the NDIS and were able to sort of really be there on that road. So start now. I think that's really, you know, really important. And my second tip is to self-direct your support. And self-direction, I know self-direction, people go, oh, I've got so much to do already, and I can really, you know, understand that idea that you're really bogged down in the day-to-day, and the service isn't doing what they said they would do, and you've got to chase them up, and you've got to, you know, there's, you know, the support that you have to provide, and, you know, that you know, it's really can be very, very hard, and people think self-direction, I've got so much to do already, I'm really, really busy, but actually self-direction is really, really liberating. Self-direction actually really means that you can be in charge of your support, but you can delegate to others some aspects of that as well, and you have more control over it. Oops. So, just as I said, really simply, it just means being in charge of your support and being in charge of your life. You can have the best dream in the world, but if you're not actually directing that, it will go awry. You need to actually be in control of the decision making around that. But it doesn't mean you have to do it yourself. I'm kind of the queen of delegation. We do a lot of self-directed, you know, Jacob's support is all self-directed, but I sit there with my feet on the desk, you know, just telling people to do things. I don't actually have to do a lot of it myself, and we've found really creative ways of doing that. On later today, I will be able to talk to you a little bit about how we self-direct Jacob's support as well as how other people are self-directing their support with the NDIS. So, if you want to hear more about self-direction, you can come along this afternoon. So, there's my 2 tips for Jacob's, are my 2 tips actually for the NDIS and thinking about the NDIS. It's to have a vision, really start thinking about that vision for a positive life in the future, and self-directing your support. Thank you.